Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto and our journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the 5th round of the 1957 season, the British/European Grand Prix. It was held on the 20th of July, it had 19 entries, 18 of them took part in the race with 10 of them having to retire. The race consisted of 90 laps completed in 3 hours, 6 minutes and 37 seconds. Stirling Moss snatched pole from Berra, Tony Brooks qualified in 3rd, Fangio 4th, Hawthorne started from 5th. Moss retired from the race, but Tony Brooks decided to share his car with him, and thus Moss won the British Grand Prix. Luigi Musso finished in 2nd, 25.6 seconds behind, Hawthorne finished in 3rd, 42.8 seconds behind, Trintignant shared his car with Peter Collins, who finished the race in 4th, he was 2 laps down, and rounding off the top 5 was Roy Salvadori, who was 5 laps behind the leader. Stirling Moss also posted the fastest lap of the race, he completed it in 1 minute 59.2 seconds. This year's British Grand Prix is held at the fascinating Aintree circuit, where a lap starts off with a longish run down into turn 1, a fast right-hander. Careful on the exit, you don't want to go too wide unless you want to make acquaintances with the wall. Next is turn 2, a tight right-hander. Once again, careful on the exit. Those fence gates seem far apart, but they really aren't. Turn 3 is next, a very tight left-hander. Don't use too much power on the exit here. As we now come into turn 4, another tight left-hander. This isn't as tight as the previous one, but you still want to be careful with the throttle. Turn 5 is next, a long right-hander. Keep it nice and tight through here, and get back on the power as soon as you can. We now come on to turn 6, a very long right-hander. Keep it nice and tight through here as well, and get back on the power as soon as you cross the corner apex. Next is the longest straight on the circuit, followed by a very fast left-right chicane. Start by moving to the right, then keep it as far to the left as you dare. Try not to hit the fence though. This is followed by another left-right chicane. This one's slower, but the same principle applies here as well. We then finally come through this medium speed right-hander that brings us back around onto the main straight, and that is a lap around the Aintree circuit. And here we are in qualifying, coming around to whoa, that's dangerous. Whoa. Anyway, that was a 2 minute 00.43 second lap, and I'm still quite shocked about that, and the cars are still there as we come around to set our second fastest lap, a 159.5, and that's getting increasingly dangerous especially since there's more and more rain. And finally we set a 158.1. Unfortunately I wasn't able to improve on this time, but I think that's a good thing because sooner or later I would have crashed into those cars anyway. And here are the previous British Grand Prix winners. We won quite a few times around here, both in Aintree and overall in the British Grand Prix. Also, this also doubles as the European Grand Prix, by the way, so that's nice. And we have Stirling Moss on pole with Tony Brooks in 2nd, Mike Hawthorne 3rd, Peter Collins 4th, and Juan Manuel Fangio rounding off the top 5. 6th is Maston Gregory, followed by Luigi Musso in 7th, Harry Schell is 8th, 9th is Jean Berra with Alfonso de Portago in 10th, obviously we don't really count him anymore, unfortunately. Carlos Menditego is 11th, 12th is Trintignant, Jose Freilan Gonzalez 13th, 14th Bob Gerard, 15th Wolfgang von Tritz, that's always difficult to pronounce, Stuart Lewis Evans 16th, 17th Roy Salvadori, 18th Joe Bonnier, 19th Andy Higgs, and at the very back we have Jack Brabham in his Cooper Climax. So that's the lineup for the British Grand Prix. Quite excited, I really like this circuit, it's quite fun to drive around here. And we are off for the British Grand Prix. We immediately fall behind, but that's to be expected. I generally tend to be quite slow on the start in order to kind of save myself from having to crash into other cars as we now come through turn 1 here. Very slow, try not to crash into anyone, and we have a Ferrari at the side of the track there. That's Peter Collins. I'm sure he'll get back, eventually he'll find a way to get himself untangled somehow, as we now come through turn 2, and we now move towards the end of the lap, where we see a bunch of cars all over the track through these chicanes, I crash into my fellow Maserati driver as we come through the final corner here, and we see Trintignant in the Ferrari up ahead kind of swerving coming out of the corner. I'm guessing we'll have some replays soon enough. And here is Bob Gerrard coming around. He lost control of his Cooper Bristol and he lost his wheel. Next is Stuart Lewis Evans, who loses control of his van wall. Then we have Joe Bonnier in the Maserati kind of... I'm not really... Oh, okay, that's what happened. He crashed and lost his front wheel. Next we have Jean Berra, who crashes into the Cooper Bristol of Bob Gerrard, and he is out of the race. And those were the first retirements, the people who didn't even finish the first lap, as we come around to start lap 3 and we have more retirements. Here is Von Trips losing control of his Ferrari and going off the map. Next we have Sterling Moss coming through and he goes off. And he eventually falls off the map as well, because why the hell not? Here we have Fangio in the Maserati coming through the chicane and flips his Maserati several times, and he is out of the race as well. As we now come towards the end of lap 3, we are in third at this point, chasing after Tony Brooks at the moment. We have Carlos Menditegui behind us, not for long I'm pretty sure. And we now have a look at Peter Collins, who loses control of his Ferrari once again. He tries to get back on the... Well, he actually tries to go off the track because that's not where the circuit is, and eventually ends up flying off the map. Here is Jose Furlan Gonzalez in his Ferrari, coming through turn 1, loses control, flips his car over, and that is his race over. As we now look at Carlos Menditegui coming through the chicane, hits the wall, loses his front left, and he is out of the British/European Grand Prix as well. As we now move on to lap 5, we move up into second. Tony Brooks is about 1 second behind us, catching up to us quite quickly. But we now look at Maurice Trintignant coming through turn 2 here, loses control of his Ferrari and ends up on that escape road type deal. And this is Mike Hawthorne losing control of his car through turn 2. He tries to get back on the road, but instead goes off the track, off the map. As we now move on to lap 11, chasing after, well, not chasing, that's one of a back marker as I go very wide through this right-hander here. And here we have a look at Luigi Musso coming around, and he messes up royally and he is out of the Grand Prix as well. As we now move on to lap 16. Still chasing after Harry Schell. He is 1.5 minutes in front, so he's quite close to us. He should lap us eventually. As we now take a look at Tony Brooks, who also messes up and crashes his... well, kind of decided to drive into that wall because it looked like he actually intentionally steered left there. Anyway, Harry Schell eventually lapped us, but he also retired on lap 27, so we shall move into the lead soon enough. And here is Harry Schell coming around a bit fast, crashes into the wall, loses his front left, and he is now out of the British Grand Prix as well. As we now come around to finish lap 27. On the next lap we will take the lead of the race, obviously. It's kind of unfortunate because the car became quite difficult to control after a while, but we eventually make it around and finish lap 31 and take the win here at the British Grand Prix with, I believe, Jack Brabham in second, and yes, Jack Brabham second, and Roy Salvadori finished in third. Harry Schell managing to post the fastest lap of the race, a 1:49.529. That's actually a lap record. I think that's about 1 second faster than the previous lap record, something like that. Anyway, these are the retirements. A lot of people retired, 16 in fact. but in the end it turned out that I actually jinxed myself at the end of the French Grand Prix. I said that the AI seemed to have come back to their senses and started to race properly, and I well and thoroughly jinxed myself as they went back to driving like buffoons again. But anyway, here are the career statistics, and this was Andy's 62nd Grand Prix. His best start is from first, has 3 pole positions, has posted 12 fastest laps, his best finishes in first, has completed 44 Grand Prix, 38 of them in the points, has won 23 races, 4 at the Indianapolis 500, 3 at the Monaco Grand Prix, has 5 championships under his belt, has scored a total of 255 points, has retired 18 times, has experienced 1,486 out of 1,794 laps, has 5 bronze trophies, 5 silver trophies, 23 gold trophies, and as an extension 23 podiums. And here is a look at the championship standings. We are now tied for first with Roy Salvadori. Moss is in third, Lewis Evans is 4th, and Jack Brabham rounding off the top 5, with Harry Schell being the final point scorer in 9th, and at the very bottom we see the unfortunate Alfonso de Portago, who died not so long ago. Well, for the season, not for real life, not in real life terms. In real life terms, he died a long time ago. But yeah, that was the British Grand Prix. Once again, a very disappointing race, considering that only 3 of us managed to complete it. Anyway, the next race is the German Grand Prix, and we will start dropping points following this race, so that's always an interesting part of the season when we start dropping points. But yeah, that is it for the British Grand Prix for this video. Disappointing, yes. Hopefully the German Grand Prix will be slightly better, but I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, once we get there. After the German Grand Prix, we have a race I'm not looking forward to at all. I don't want to race there, but we have to. And then we'll have the Italian Grand Prix to finish the season. But anyway, don't forget to vote for next season's team. Link is in the description. I also have a second channel where I will be playing all sorts of different games. At the moment I'm doing a playthrough of the original Need for Speed Underground, so if you're interested, there is a link in the description to that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp!